Move over, Olestra. There is a new fat alternative in town. It's called Epogee, and we're going to tell you all about it here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. Click on that little box down there in the corner, and you can go straight to IGTV for the full episode of today's Jimmy Rants. So thank you for being here today. If you want to join us live, you have to engage live because all these people are having a good time engaging live. Come on over to Instagram. I'm at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, engage live. We also simulcast live over here on my Facebook page, just like Mike just popped in to say, hi, Jimmy, happy Monday. What's up, Mike? So thank you guys for being here today on Facebook, simulcast, and then finally my YouTube stream. Lots more people are starting to watch the YouTube stream. So thank you guys for being so faithful and everyone being here today on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live here on Instagram, you can watch it on replay on IGTV. We also throw the replay up over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. We also air the audio version of a best of Jimmy Rants on my podcast called the Living La Vida Low Carb Show. That is on Tuesdays. And so tomorrow, LLVLC.com or wherever you listen to podcasts, we will be airing the audio version of some recent episodes of Jimmy Rants. And then finally go to JimmyRants.com. All the past episodes are listed there. And so many of you have been asking how you can support the show. We now have a Patreon page right there, very visible when you go to JimmyRants.com. Click on that link, and it'll take you to where you can donate some money to keep us on the air. I'm not going to have any sponsors. This episode brought to you by, we're not going to do anything like that on this show. But if you feel like I'm adding value to your life, then add value back to my life by supporting me. So thank you guys for being here today. Okay, so today's topic is a really, really fascinating one because I grew up a child of the 1980s. And in the 1980s, fat phobia was going strong. Like my mama, she was the queen of low-fat diets. She did Weight Watchers. She did this program called Take Off Pounds Sensibly, TOPS. She ate low-fat this, low-fat that. And all these things were happening in our culture in the 1980s that made us fear fat out the wazoo. Now, you know from watching Jimmy Rants how that all started, and the Dietary Guidelines for Americans that came out in 1980 that basically said fat is the enemy in your health. And again, we know that was created because of false, fake studies that came out that tried to make saturated fat look like the boogeyman in your health, giving you heart disease, raising your cholesterol, yada, yada, yada. But as a result of that fear of fat, companies started developing all kinds of technologies to try to reduce the amount of fat in your diet. Because here's the funny thing. When they started taking the fat out of the food, guess what happened to the taste of the food? That's right, it got really gross. And in order to hide the grossness of low-fat foods, they had to manipulate with seasoning. I remember that when they first came out with baked Lays, everybody's like, baked? Why are you baking them? Because they were trying to make them crispy, give them a texture that gave them some semblance of flavor that people would sort of kind of want to stick in their mouth. And then they started coming up with just all sorts of they would have to add sugar to a lot of the products because when you take fat out, you have to add sugar to cover up the disgustingness of what's left. One of the technologies that came out, though, around that time when I was a kid and a teenager was this fake fat. How many of you remember Olestra? Trust me, if you were alive at the time when Olestra came out and you decided to put this God-forbidden fake fat into your mouth, you will never forget that you did that. So, how many of my old timers, you remember Olestra? Please tell me your Olestra story if you want to share it. I remember when Olestra came out, they advertised it as it is a great alternative fat. It tastes just like saturated fat, but with less actual fat and less calories, and thus healthier. So they started coming out with all of these products that included Olestra in them. And potato chips was a natural one for them to do, because what's a potato chip? It's basically potatoes soaked in a fat. So they started cooking potato chips in Olestra. And I remember Mama bought a bag of those for us, and I got them home. And of course, when you eat potato chips, you don't just eat a couple, do you? No, you eat the whole friggin' bag. And when you eat the whole friggin' bag of Olestra potato chips, just plan on not going anywhere the rest of the day, because you're going to be sitting on the porcelain goddess for the rest of the day. And that's what Olestra was. It was an indigestible fake fat that these brilliant marketers thought was a good idea because people were so phobic of fat. And it was the most disgusting, explosive diarrhea you've ever had in your entire life. I don't want to know what it did to gut health. I don't want to know what it actually was doing on the insides of my body. All I know is I didn't need to take any barium for a colonoscopy after eating some Olestra. And so that was right at around 25 years ago that Olestra was on the market. Well, guess what, guys? They're back. There's a brand new fake fats coming on the market. And it's so funny because we're not fearful of fat anymore. So why do we need a fake fat? And look how they market it. Instead of being a low fat thing, watch how they market this new one. So the new one, and I'm reading from an article, Food Navigator-USA.com. This is a popular kind of food trend, food news type of news outlet. And they're talking about this new fat alternative, and it's called Epogee. Epogee. You're gonna see this starting to pop up in products, and be careful. They may try to sneak it into a keto product somehow, some way. I don't know why they would, because most keto products have higher fat, but Epogee is the new darling of the fat alternative market. Products are already on the market that contain Epogee, and they include enrobed caramel clusters and a fast-growing, low-calorie ice cream brand delivering a super premium, creamy mouthfeel. Epogee Chief Commercial Officer Jamie Caruso told reporters last week, the low-fat ship sailed 25 years ago. Yeah, it did. This is not about low fat. Listen to this, you guys. It's about caloric reduction. Now, that's some nice spin there. Our entire lives, we've been told fat is the boogeyman, okay? And so if we start to doubt that fat is the boogeyman, what's their backup? They say, oh, it's too many calories. Well, we know by definition that a fat calorie, 1 gram, or a fat gram, 1 gram of fat has 9 calories, whereas 1 gram of protein and 1 gram of carbohydrates each have 4 calories. And so if your intention is to reduce calories, then the best place to do that is in the fat. So let's make up this brand new fake fat called Epogee to lower the amount of calories in the fat that comes from it, and yet still have all the benefits, mouthfeel, texture, blah, 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 that you get from full fat. You see how they're twisting this, where it used to be fat is the enemy? Well, we know fat's not the enemy anymore, but you got to watch out for those calories. And this holding on desperately to the calorie hypothesis, it's kind of laughable at this point. Like, are you noticing that some of the ways that they're trying so desperately to make it relevant in the mind of a person in 2020 that calories still matter somehow, some way? Don't they know the 1980s called and they want their diet advice back? Prudent people in modern times know that you're not looking at calories. You're not worried about fat grams. You're worried about impact on blood sugar. You're worried about impact on insulin levels. You're worried about impact on inflammation levels. These are all the things that a modern educated person in nutrition concerns themselves with. We have a customer about to launch a peanut spread and a chocolate hazelnut spread made with Epogee, and we expect to see many more products hitting the market with Epogee in the coming months. So, what is Epogee? So Epogee, which they shortened to EPG, is a modified plant-based oil. Now here's the funny part. They want to brag about it being plant-based, okay? Animal-based foods, horrible for you. That's what they're trying to tell you. The implication, saturated fat, harmful for you, even though that was debunked many years ago. They want it to look like, see, it's plant-based, so therefore it's natural, and therefore healthy. You see how the marketing of this is going to be so gross. And yet this is how they have to do this. All under the auspice of trying to do something good for society. Wait till you find out what this is. EPG stands for esterified propoxylated glycerol. It can be listed on food labels as EPG parenthetical modified plant-based oil. So when you go to look for Epogee, look for it on the label. It'll say EPG and then parenthetical modified plant-based oil. Again, on the ingredients list, they're trying to market to the consumer. Oh, it's just a plant-based oil. It's great. It's healthy for you. Plant-based, right? It can be used to replace up to 85% of the fat in so many applications that run from confectionery to baking mixes. The FDA just confirmed it has no objections to extending a GRAS determination. So GRAS, G-R-A-S, generally recognized as safe. So when the FDA gives you that, they're basically saying, oh yes, it's free to be put out there in any food product whatsoever you want to put it in, okay? And they've determined EPG can be put in potato chips, corn-based savory snacks, think like goldfish, Fritos, those kinds of things, chicken nuggets, plant-based protein products. Is that those plant-based burgers? They're going to stick this in there. Dairy analogs, which is any kind of substitute dairy, and then beverages and beverage bases. All right? So remember I told you 1 gram of fat in general has about 9 calories. 1 gram of Epogee actually only has 0.7 calories. So it's a significant reduction. And so in their minds, they feel like they've done a service by making this product available. Let's dig a little deeper at what it is, though. How do you make EPG? It's going to shock you. Get ready, guys. The company splits rapeseed oil and other vegetable oils into glycerin and fatty acid. Then they put in a food-grade link and then reconnect them. You know how they always kind of make fun of keto and low-carb people for having all of these like fake sugars and things like that? How messed up is it that you take rapeseed oil, which is already a horrible, horrible inflammatory oil, and other vegetable oils? Every vegetable oil is inflammatory. And you separate it into glycerin and a fatty acid. You insert some random generic food grade link, and then you reconnect them. And they think that's normal. Guys, this is going to be on the market. People are going to put this in their mouth thinking they're eating healthy. I'm just at a loss as to how anybody can see this as a good thing. So the modified fat, EPG, has a high melting point of 102 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that it does not liquefy when it goes through your body. Oh my gosh. So if you eat it, it stays hard inside the body because your body is 98.6 and the melting point isn't until 102. It has the consistency of a soft candle wax. So you want candle wax going through your arteries? Doesn't that sound so pleasant? It largely resists digestion because digestive enzymes are prevented from breaking it down. Oh. Who's going to be the guinea pig to try Epogee? You put this stuff in your mouth, it feels like soft candle wax going down your throat, and then your body can't digest it because digestive enzymes are prevented from breaking it down. What's going to happen? What happens when it gets to your gut? I don't want to know what's going to happen. Like, that sounds horrendous. Hardly any of the calories are released because it can't be digested. And they're talking to potential partners from leading CPG brands to disrupt startups. Okay. Has anybody thought that this was a good idea up until now? Like, who was the genius that thought, let's come up with a really bad fat, make it even worse, make it where it goes down feeling like soft candle wax going down the esophagus. Then let's not let that fat be broken down, and let's hope by the time they poop it out, it's not too gross when it gets in the toilet bowl. I mean, like, who thought this was a good idea? And here's the thing. All of this, all at the holy altar of we need to reduce calories. Like, if you think the world has gone mad in the world of nutrition, this is the epitome of it. This is the very thing that I think people are over. Like, do they really think there's a market for this? A fake fat? Epogee? And they think this is something that's natural. What is wrong with real whole food-based fats? What is wrong with lard? What is wrong with butter? What is wrong with ghee? What is wrong with duck fat? What is wrong with tallow? Absolutely nothing. And so now they come out with this much lower calorie version. And if you joined us late, we're talking about a new fake fat that has hit the market. No, it's not Olestra, so no need to wear Depends when you eat these potato chips to have the new one in there. It's called Epogee, and they're promoting it as a way to reduce calories because 1 gram of Epogee, unlike most fats have 9 calories, this has 0.7 calories. And so these companies are starting to put it in products thinking this is a good idea for calorie reduction, and yet we're finding out in this story that it works because it resists digestion. And the digestive enzymes don't break it down, and thus you don't absorb the calories. So this is what we're up against. And there's going to be people that will fall for this. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to market this in like TV commercials. Yes, come to Epogee. We won't let you poop, but you won't get fat because you won't be over consuming calories. You're welcome, America. So, they claim in this article that there's no messy side effects. Unlike Olestra, which had a lower melting point and messy side effects, or fat replacers that are made from sugars, gums, starches, or fibers, which provide bulking, mouthfeel, and other things, EPG functions like fat in food products and in the human body because it's made from fat. Yes, it's made from fat, but let me remind you if you came in late, it's made from rapeseed oil. Rapeseed oil is the core product that they put in this thing called canola oil. And need I remind you to go look up over on YouTube how canola oil is made. Bleachers, deodorizers, there's so many things that they have to do to rapeseed oil to make it into an edible form of humans being able to digest it and have it in their body and da-da-da-da-da. You don't want to know. And through all those processes, highly, highly inflammatory for your body. And again, I have to ask the question, who thought this was a good idea in 2020? The fear of fat is over. And they even acknowledge it right there in the headline. The low-fat ship sailed 25 years ago. This is not about low fat. It's about low calorie. But again, I ask, is it just random calories, or do we care about the friggin' quality of those calories? All of us here today on Jimmy Rants, you guys care about the quality of the calories you consume. Meanwhile, food companies putting this Epogee in their products, they don't think it's about food quality at all. They just want to put some random fat in their mouth. Well, it's less calories, so it must be healthy. This is like when they stuck filters on cigarettes. Did putting a filter on the cigarette make the cigarette healthy? No. What did it do? Maybe slightly better, but it was still bad. Okay? So in their minds, they think, oh, okay, well, we're going to take out all the calories out of that fat so it still has the same mouthfeel. It tastes like fat, but it's not as many calories. And so therefore, look at what we've done for society. How good are we to create this fake fat? And at the end of the day, they didn't do much. So, functions like fat in food products and in the human body because it's made from fat. In a nutshell, EPG is unique in the food formulation space because it's an alternative fat and not a fat substitute. EPG looks, feels, tastes, and functions like fat because it's made from fat. It just doesn't deliver the calories. You know what this reminds me of? Is that product called Truvia. Y'all remember that one? It's still in the market today. But it was the first one that included stevia in little packets that's a sugar alternative. And I remember in their marketing, they talked about tastes like sugar because it comes from sugar and it's nature's natural sugar alternative, blah, 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 whatever it was. And then you look at the packet and you realize they used erythritol, which comes from fruit, and then stevia, which is a plant. And so to them, they thought it meant it was natural and we can market it as natural, and it comes from sugar, so it tastes like sugar, so it's as good as sugar. And they're doing the same thing with this Epogee. Well, it comes from fat, it tastes like fat, it acts like fat, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, so it must be, yeah, it's not a duck. And they're trying to bamboozle people. While fat reduction and replacement might have been all the rage in the 80s and 90s, consumers today, they say, some of whom are actively embracing high-fat keto diets, are much more worried about sugar. No. You're trudging on my domain now. Yes, low-carb, high-fat dieters, keto dieters do care about making sure sugar is out of our diet, obviously. But let's not pretend like we want to put some fake inferior fat like rapeseed oil that's been modified to make this fake fat called Epogee. Let's not pretend like keto people want to stick this in their mouth. We do not. Under no circumstance do I want to put this in my mouth. I'd rather eat a plant-based burger than to put this crap in my mouth. And I've done that, by the way, one time. It was gross. Don't do that. But it's amazing. Oh, people are actively embracing high-fat, low-carb, ketogenic diets. They're more worried about sugar. No, we want sugar to be reduced or eliminated in our diet, but we also want quality fats in our diet. And so let's stop pretending like this will be a part of that. They're also worried about their weight, talking about keto dieters, and they're still paying a lot of attention to calories. Okay. I want to take a poll of the Jimmy Rants family here. If you are still obsessed about calories, not that you don't think calories count. Obviously, we all believe they count. You can't overconsume calories and expect to lose weight. But are you counting calories? Are you making it an obsession that you must keep your calories at some random goal or you're going to gain weight? I don't think many people are doing that. I think most of us are listening to satiety, trying to focus in on protein as the primary thing that we're consuming in our diet with appropriate amounts of natural fats that come along with that protein and minimizing our carbohydrate. If you do that and you're controlling hormones, you're not paying much attention to the calories, and yet they're making the claim a lot of keto dieters still paying attention to calories. And given that fat contains a lot more calories per gram, 9, than carbs and protein, 4, this is the easiest target to drive calories out of products. I will say it again. It's not about loading calories. It's not about counting calories. It's about eating to your hormones. And I don't know how we get this message any clearer across than just saying it's a hormonal thing. It's not a calorie thing. And the more we obsess about calories, the more these kinds of products like Epogee are going to come to the market, because people are under the false illusion that it's all about the calories. This is why when you go to a vending machine and now they show all the calorie counts of all these foods, that's all well and good, but show me how many carbs is in there. They don't do that. Show me how much sugar is in there. They might do that, but most of them don't do that. Show me the kinds of fat that's in it. Most of the fat that's in kind of these processed vending machine foods are highly inferior ones, just like this Epogee made from rapeseed oil. You're not seeing real whole food-based fats being represented in the kinds of fats that people are eating. And then they're eating those fats in conjunction with carbohydrate. And almost all of these products they want to stick this in: potato chips, carbs; corn-based savory snacks, carbs; chicken nuggets, not made with chicken, carbs; plant-based protein products. Have you seen the plant-based burgers? Carbs. Dairy analogs, there's a few carbs in there. And then beverage and beverage bases, depending on how much sugar they put on it, carbs. So let's stop pretending like that this is doing anything good, because it's not. There is currently nothing like this on the market today. And if food culture has undoubtedly changed since the technology behind EPGs was first developed 3 decades ago, most Americans are still consuming way too many calories than they're burning off, and many of them come from fat. You hear the marketing speak coming out of this company? They're trying to make the claim that we all need to be eating Epogee because we're still a bunch of gluttons that like to gorge ourselves on fat. I don't know anybody that gorges themselves on fat. Not in the health space. People in the health space, we eat an appropriate amount of fat. Put the focus on protein first. Eat an appropriate amount of fat to go along with that protein. Minimize your carbohydrates. Done. This isn't about calories whatsoever, but they're trying to make the claim, well, you're eating too many calories, so this is the way to fix that problem. Never mind the new problems that are coming along. There is currently nothing like this on the market. We have 2 products, a confectionery EPG with a very sharp melting curve designed to mimic cocoa butter or fractionated palm kernel oil, and our workhorse spreadable EPG, which works in all other applications. See, here's the thing. Rapeseed oil has no saturated fat. Do you know how many positive, good things happen in your body from consuming saturated fat? Can I tell you too that if I consumed a fake fat like Epogee, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, I know that if I had a fat like that that was devoid of the full amount of calories, that is a fake fat, as compared to eating butter, for example. I had some butter and cooked some eggs in butter for breakfast this morning, my backyard chicken eggs. Had I not had that meal and instead used Epogee as my fat, I would already be hungry again, 3-4 hours later. But as it stands, I'm still satisfied. Why? Because the saturated fat in the butter is keeping me completely full. And this is something that's missing in this conversation. They don't want to admit it, but people are going to eat Epogee and carbohydrates that they're putting them in aside. Even if you took the carbohydrate away and had like an Epogee butter type thing where people could cook eggs, for example, in this fat, people are still going to get hungry. And here's another thing. Our body takes in that fat and it becomes a part of our human body. Do you want this fake fat to become part of who you are, when your body doesn't recognize this whatsoever, and if it doesn't get digested and it goes down the pie hole like soft candle wax, are you just going to poop it out in whole? How does that not have digestive issues coming out the back end? Like, I hope I'm painting a picture for you here. I don't know if it's going to be like Olestra when it came out, but I can't imagine an indigestible fake fat made from rapeseed oil called Epogee. I can't imagine, if it's not digested, where it could possibly go except out the keister. And when it comes out, it might burn. And it might be runny as all get out. I'm sorry, I'm gross today, but I'm trying to paint a picture here. This ain't good. As to whether Epogee would be considered clean, there's no simple answer, as this is not a legally defined term. So people are already asking them, well, can you call this a clean food? No, it's a processed food. No processed food can be considered clean. What are we doing? He did concede that some natural and organic brands might not be interested. Well, I hope not. If you consider yourself natural and organic, there ain't nothing natural about Epogee and its rapeseed oil concoction. I hope to God no keto product decides to put this in there, all at bowing to the holy altar of cutting calories in a product. This is scary, you guys. However, brands that are trying to appeal to those calorie-conscious consumers are particularly excited about Epogee's potential to cut the calorie, but also eliminate all those extra ingredients like gum, starches, binders, preservatives, flavor enhancers that are often used in low-calorie and low-fat foods. Okay, great. So we take all this other crap out and we put one big crapola ingredient back in. Like, pick your poison. How about we have neither one of those bad products go into our human bodies? How about we tell people why a real whole food-based fat like butter is completely fine to consume, calories notwithstanding? I feel like we're going to be talking about calories still 10 years from now. In a different way, probably. But 10 years from now, are we still going to have this same debate? Like 25 years ago, I thought calories would always hang the moon. Low-fat diets would always hang the moon. That's just what we knew at the time. Now we're so much further along the road of understanding that fat is not the enemy and that it's a lot more than just the calorie. We're so much more understanding now. But think about how much more understanding we are, and yet these kind of products still come on the market. It's crazy. The road to commercialization has been lengthy for EPGs, which were first developed in the 1980s. So they've been working on this since the height of the low-fat era. What took them so long? Makes you wonder, right? Arco Chemical Company was the company that was developing this in the 80s. They teamed up with Best Foods to explore the potential of this as fat replacers in foods. Best Foods withdrew from the joint venture shortly thereafter, and work did not resume until late 2003 when the technology was assigned to a nonprofit affiliated with Kansas State University. A new partner called Choco Finesse, LLC, was later granted development rights, and they changed the name from EPG to Epogee, E-P-O-G-E-E. Epogee is not another Olestra, a hybrid molecule of sucrose esterified with 8 fatty acids from Procter & Gamble. It attracted a wave of negative PR because of the diarrhea effects that I see a lot of you guys talking about. Notably, anal leakage. Nobody knew what anal leakage meant until Olestra came around, and then a lot of people, unfortunately, had firsthand knowledge of anal leakage. We got to learn from their experiences and essentially avoided some of the things that they did. And we also have better chemistry today. Our product is safer in terms of things like vitamin depletion. Epogee does not inhibit the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Well, you're not helping it. Fat-soluble vitamins work when you have fats. So if you have a fake fat that only has 0.7 calories per gram, and this is what comprises people's diets, and then people take fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, do you think those vitamins are going to be properly absorbed without the presence of fat? No, they will not. And so let's stop pretending like Epogee is going to not inhibit the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Absolutely it will, because you need the actual fat. This is why eating real whole food-based fats is the way to make sure all those fat-soluble vitamins are doing what they're supposed to do in your body. Another key thing is that Epogee is made from fat and tastes like fat. I am so sick of that marketing line. When they come out with commercials, you guys, you're going to hear them say, oh, Epogee, it's made from fat and it tastes like fat. It's a lie from the pit of hell. It's kind of like when you go to a court of law and they say tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. They're telling you the truth when they say it comes from fat and it tastes like fat. They're not telling you the whole truth of what they're doing to that fat to make it human edible. And they're not telling you that it's not actually a whole fat. If a gram of this fake fat Epogee only has 0.7 calories, can we really call it fat? Because fat, by definition, 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. We can't really call it a fat. We can call it fat light. Light. It's not real fat. Olestra had kind of a weird mouthfeel, and for people old enough to remember the potato chips, they didn't quite taste like potato chips, but French fries or donuts made with Epogee will actually beat regular French fries or donuts. You notice how all of these things that have this new fake fat Epogee in them will be carbohydrate based. Pretty interesting, huh? EPGs are a family of fat and oil-like substances that resemble triglycerides in structure and appearance, but have been modified to prevent or limit digestion when consumed in food. The fats and the oils are split into glycerol and fatty acids. Glycerol is reacted with propylene oxide to produce glycerol, with propylene glycol units, PGUs, inserted on its hydroxyl groups. Then the propylene glycol substituted glycerol is reacted with fatty acids to produce these EPGs, which largely resist digestion because the PGUs prevent the digestive enzyme lipase from breaking down fat. I'm sorry, if I consume something that tastes fat-like and is giving me all the properties of fat, and my body's like, what the? And lipase can't do its job of breaking down that fat? How is this a good idea? Like anything I put in my body, I hope my hydrochloric acid and the bile is an essential part of digesting fats. What does bile do with this Epogee? They're not telling us any of that. So, is it safe? We're getting to the end of the article. The FDA has no questions regarding the GRAS status of EPG for multiple food applications in frying and baked goods, baking mixes, frozen desserts, nut products including peanut butter, grain products, pasta, granola, snack bars, sauces, gravies, soft candy, snack foods like potato chips, corn-based snacks, chicken nuggets, plant-based protein products, dairy analogs, beverages, beverage bases, coffee, and tea. EPGs have been evaluated for safety at levels as high as 150 grams per day. How do they determine safety? And they want you to consume as much as 150 grams of these? Like, really? How is it labeled? So, Epogee, look for EPG, esterified propoxylated glycerol, or EPG modified plant-based oil. That's how it's going to end up on labels, you guys. While the word modified might conjure up images of genetic engineering, which is not involved in this production, Epogee has not experienced any pushback from any manufacturers or consumers on this name, who noted that modified starch is common on food labels. So guys, Epogee, it's the new darling in the fake fat business. And for me, I still have to ask the obvious question. Why? Why do we need to have a fake fat in 2020 with all we know about the healthfulness of fat, the healthfulness of saturated fat? Why do we need to continue this charade that somehow fat is an enemy in your health that needs to be substituted? I, for the life of me, do not understand how we have such a cognitive dissonance when it comes to this subject, and that products like this are still allowed to be brought on the market today. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. I'm going to pop over here to Instagram first, then over to Facebook, and finally over to YouTube. So thank you all for being here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. See what you guys have to say about this one here. Kat says they are not keeping up with a trend. They can have better luck with fake carbs. Yeah. If they made a fake carb product, then maybe they get somewhere. Rachel says the makers of Epogee be like, let's add glass to food since it can't be digested. Pretty much, Rachel, pretty much. Calories are dumb, says Beth. Yeah, tell me how you really feel, Beth. Rachel says, I used to track calories for so long. Now I eat to satiety. I think most of us in the know eat to satiety. It's just the way to go. Temple is a dietitian. I'm so sick of these fake fats. It's horrendous for your body. Yeah. And the problem is, Temple, and you have to deal with this talking to clients every day. People buy into this stuff. They buy into the fat phobia. And so they think, okay, I need to cut my fat, so this is a convenient way to do it. If people stopped fearing fat and realized all the positive things that fat does for their body, rather than focusing on the perceived negative things, then maybe products like this would never get a foothold. Unfortunately, we've been so propagandized for so long, it's almost hard to undo this fat phobia that we naturally have. For them, it doesn't matter if calories are coming from sugar or good nutrients. It's just such a shame. That's true. It's of no matter to them. It's all about the calories. Food quality be damned. Beth says, I don't recall who posted this. It was one of us. They posted a keto product full of wheat flour, other grains, and rapeseed oil. Had to call it out. Yeah. If they have wheat flour, grains, and rapeseed oil, yes, please, by all means, call those people out, because that's not keto in my book. Kat said, people always think what else to eat instead of what else not to eat. Why not think about food as fuel? Using food as pleasure equals the saddest life. Yeah, I was talking the other day with somebody about that people think food, you have to have a new recipe and you have to have, it has to taste good. And it's not about any of those things. It's just about fuel, as you stated. Jack says, yeah, no anal leakage. This junk will come out like toothpaste, effing gross. Beth said they would be accurate to market it as poopy pants or poopy pats, like pats of butter. Poop out what you can't use. Can you imagine if they had like little, remember those little pats of butter they would stick on a piece of cardboard and then they have a little piece of paper you'd pull back. Here's your poopy pat. Enjoy. Thank you for bringing attention to this. Still so many LCHF believing if it fits your macros. M&Ms are cheaper if that's your angle. Yeah, and there's people that do that too. Well, if I have 12 M&Ms, that's only blankety number of carbs and it fits my macros. I'm just like, oh, you missed the point of a ketogenic diet if you think M&Ms fit within that. All right, thank you, Instagram. I'm going to pop over here to my Facebook page. What's up, Facebook? Thanks for being here today on Jimmy Rants. See what you have to say about this fake fat Epogee. Tracy says, Olestra equals explosive diarrhea, LOL. Yes. You only do that once. Kira says Olestra will cure your constipation. Yeah. Kind of like any maltitol candy today. If somebody gets like constipated, just have some maltitol candy. It'll be taken care of, I promise you. Kim says, my daughter has watched me eat keto for the past 2.5 years. She decided she needs to lose weight. So what does she do? Counts calories and exercises more. What the hell? It's still ingrained in people's beliefs. And this is the thing, shaking my head, Kim says. This is the thing, Kim. When people go keto, I think they have gotten the message they should cut their carbs. So they cut their carbs down real low. but then in the back of their head they go, oh, but I know that eating fat is unhealthy, so I need to cut my fat too. And this is where this Epogee product can be very dangerous for a keto dieter. What if they start putting it in keto products? What if they begin to put Epogee in like pure form as like a fake kind of butter, but it tastes like butter, but a lot less calories and da 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 da. That's how they're going to market it. That could fool some people like your daughter who's trying keto now. Does Epogee block lipolysis, fat burning? That would be anti-keto. I don't know. I can't imagine it would be promoting it because I think you meant lipolysis. Part of fat burning, lipolysis, is having fat in there that would be natural that would help stoke fat burning. And so, yes, carbohydrate restriction would help with lipolysis, but I think you need some healthy fats along with the good amino acids to make that process happen. I don't know that you would get that from this Epogee. Tracy says, I could not care less about calories. Melissa says the same thing. No counting calories here. I craved fat my whole life. Now I can eat it and feel better. For once in my life, I'm not hungry all the time. I am not giving it up. And there's no reason to give it up. That's the thing. They want us to feel guilty about eating fat because look at all those calories. And what they don't realize is it's not the caloric aspect of fat that we are concerning ourselves with. It's what is that doing hormonally to us. To me, insulin lowers. Inflammation lowers, blood sugar normalizes, all of these good things happen in your body, and they neglect all those good things that happen. And you get to spontaneously intermittent fast for very long periods of time. Like I said, I cooked some backyard chicken eggs in some grass-fed butter this morning, and that real butter, along with the fats in the eggs, I won't have to eat all day long. I had that very early this morning for breakfast, and I won't have to eat for probably another 4, 5, 6 hours from now. And that's the beauty of eating a real whole food-based fat. Berkeley says, I have given up trying to educate loved ones. It's like spitting in the wind. People will always take the easiest path. Sometimes retraining your taste buds is difficult. Carbs are addictive. People don't want to do it. And that's a problem, Berkeley. They look to products like this Epogee to be a shortcut to making healthier choices. And I just don't understand that either. Mike says a fake fat equals chemical poop storm. Yes. Unfortunately, I think they're going to have a tough time selling Epogee just because of Olestra, the negativity that happened from Olestra, and those of us that remember that. Teach your kids today all the story about Olestra. They pulled it off the market very quick when they realized it was giving people explosive diarrhea. So. All right, thank you, Facebook. I'm going to pop over to my YouTube channel, see what you guys have to say. Chicken parm, just had 4 eggs fried, mixed with a can of tuna, melted cheese, and butter. I feel like $1 million. Sounds awesome. Kim Cole says, I remember Olestra causes diarrhea. And she said, I was waiting to hear that this one was plant-based. Yes. Shirley says, I will never understand why people think that something made in a lab is better than something found in nature. Oh, girl, that will preach, because that's this whole plant-based burger has got like 27 different ingredients when a real hamburger has beef, salt. That's it. Yum, candle wax, my favorite texture. Will they give us all adult diapers for eating this? It depends. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Yes. I see what you did there. Ribeyes for Life says, I don't count calories. Shirley says, I eat to satiety. Last time I checked, I'm not an Epogee. Yes, we don't want that to go on there. Oh, I see my good buddy Charles Grassgrow is on here. He's a hater. He doesn't like Jimmy Moore very well. But thank you, Charles. I appreciate you being one of my biggest fans. I know. Ribeyes for Life. So if you eat fake food, are you a fake person? Things that make you go, my husband is a if it fits your macros kind of guy and it kills me. Well, there are people out there that do that, so. All right. Thank you, Instagram, or excuse me, YouTube. I'm going to go back to Instagram, see if there's any final comments before we get off of this Jimmy Rants here today. Beth says most of the keto products aren't keto at all. That's true. And I hope to God none of them put this Epogee in there. Listen, if you are a manufacturer in the keto space, can I please beg you not to put this in your product? Because I think you would do a disservice to your consumers. Now I get it. There is this pull to make low-calorie products. There's this pull to keep the calories reduced because there's some certain people that still count it, blah, 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 blah. That's unfortunate. We don't need to be having fake fats in keto things. Now, obviously, I think most people should not be having products anyway. But occasionally people will add these to their diet. Here's another little wrinkle based on a previous Jimmy Rants I did recently. Remember when I talked about, because of COVID-19, the FDA has now suspended having to change the labels, and as long as it is a similar type of ingredient, they can switch it out. How many, and not show it on the label, how many people, how many companies could take this Epogee, put it in their product as a replacement without you even knowing? I don't want to think that that could happen, but guys, what would stop them? If the FDA is not going to make them change their label and update their label, and they're allowed to put this Epogee fake fat into a food product without you knowing, this is scary times. If you missed that Jimmy Rants, by the way, it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where I revealed that COVID-19, they implemented this policy that because of COVID-19 and ingredient availability not being around, we're going to have a grace period for companies updating their packaging, and the consumers won't know when there is a new ingredient put in, when there's changes to the label in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You won't know. So what would stop them from using this new technology and putting Epogee in there? Oh, well, it's a similar kind of fat as the vegetable oil. You see where I'm going here? And they don't have to reveal it. And then that update on the label doesn't have to happen until COVID-19 is over. And even after that, the Health and Human Services Secretary is the one that gets to determine when it's over and how long after it's over that they can continue to put it off. So this is very dangerous precedent happening here. And it's one reason why you hear me harp on eat real whole foods as much as possible. Because if you stick to real whole foods, you don't get fooled by these kinds of ingredient changes. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful to you today. If you remember Olestra, there is a new fat in town, and it's called Epogee. It's coming to the marketplace soon. Rapeseed oil that's been modified. Oh, yummy. That's it for this episode of Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, you can engage live in the content. You got to go follow me right here. Instagram, I'm at Living Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you're there, engage live in the content just like all these amazing people did here today. We also simulcasted over here on my Facebook page. So thank you guys for being here today as well. Finally, thank you over on YouTube. Appreciate you watching the live stream on Jimmy Rants. If you missed the live here on Instagram, it will go up right onto IGTV shortly after this is over. And yeah, you can watch all the past episodes. I think I put about the last 40 to 45 episodes up on IGTV. So go over to my Instagram page and you can see all of those episodes. We also throw the past episodes up over on YouTube. Just type in a keyword Jimmy Rants. You will find the show. Finally, we have all the videos up on the official website for this show at JimmyRants.com. And while you're there, we do have a way for you to support the show. We don't do any sponsors here, but we do have a Patreon page that if you like what you see and you want to keep hearing new content, so you can throw a little money my way, and that would help me keep this going. If you get value out of this, give value back to me. All right, guys, let me get off of here for now, and I'll be back again real soon. Bye. All right.